Well, here we are going into the closing stages of Friday afternoon, and I'm thinking about putting the spanners away and going and raising a glass or two or even more up at the local pub shortly. I've got mixed feelings about this one. I feel like I've succeeded to a point, but I've got a theory and a possible explanation as to a lot of my woes with this one, and obviously the owners before me. And looking at my last test ride video that I put on YouTube, you may be able to spot this, but I've been out since not filming it because I just had a little bit of a hunch, and I think I may be onto something. Now, I've got this bike so that when I start it, I have to run it for a good minute or so before it'll tick over, and then when it does, it'll tick over at around about 1100 RPM, and you can blip the throttle or whatever and let it fall back to that, and it'll tick over quite steadily once it's had that minute or so to warm up. If you don't give it that minute or so, it'll probably stall and you have to start it again, but eventually, once it's had a minute or so's running, yeah, everything's fine. You go for a ride and pull the clutch in while you're coasting along, say at about, I don't know, I've done it a few times, say 30-40 miles an hour or so. Pull the clutch in and shut the throttle, and it'll generally sort of tick over at about 1000 RPM or so. Pull into a lay-by and it'll tick over stationary at about 1100 or so, and if you wait long enough it'll creep up nearer 1500. Get on the move again and get a bit of speed up, pull the clutch in, let go of the throttle, it'll fall to about 1000 or 1100 again, and you can repeat that as much as you like. Go into a lay-by, stop, it'll tick over at about 1100 RPM. I've demonstrated that in my last ride video, but what I didn't do, and what I have done since, is if you pull into a lay-by and wait long enough, not a matter of minutes, but just perhaps about a minute or so, the tick over will increase to nearly 1500 RPM. Come home after a ride, come to a stop, and it'll be ticking over at between 12 and 1500 RPM. Go out on it again, same thing, get some speed up, pull the clutch in, shut the throttle, 1000 to 1100 RPM. And this is what has sort of taken quite a bit of time actually. You get a tick over set on the yard and you think, right, that's it, it's fixed, I'm going to go for a ride now and everything will be alright. Pull the clutch in to coast, shut the throttle, and the engine stalls. So I've got it, like I say, so it ticks over when I pull the clutch in at about 1000 to 1100, but a bit faster than that when it's stood on the yard. And if I switch it off once I finish the ride and start it up again, it'll go into a faster tick over. I think these are the culprits. Velocity stacks on the carburetors. Now originally it wouldn't have had Wassel carburetors, but it would have had some very similar, supposedly, Amel concentrics. It wouldn't have had these, it would have had an airbox. And I've got a feeling that when we're on the move, some sort of thing is going on with the airstream going past the carburetors, and if we're moving fast enough, it keeps the tick over speed down. As we come closer to slow down and come to a halt, whatever's going on here turbulence wise stops and the tick over speed increases. And I actually proved that as well to myself. I pulled into the lay-by at the top of the village and got the tick over, waited, got the tick over creeping up to nearer 1500, rolled down the road, and once I got up to about 20 miles an hour or more down the hill, the tick over slowed. So I think they are the cause of it, and I think I've got these carburetors set up as well as I can probably get them for a reliable tick over soon after startup. And should you say be riding and come to a junction and want to pull the clutch in and wait, I've done that, and I've had a steady reliable tick over. But as soon as you sort of stop for any length of time, the tickover starts to creep up. Once you get on the move again, it's slower. Now, perhaps some others watching my video might have some ideas and comments to make, but like I say, I think it's all connected to actually being on the move and doing upwards north of 20 miles an hour is when the tickover, with the engine warmed up fully, remains at a steady sort of 1000 to 1100 RPM, and when you're at a standstill it's faster. I think it's all to do with air and air turbulence in that area, rather than any timing or carburettor settings themselves anymore. I think I've got them pretty much as they should be, and I'm going to leave them alone, and I'll be carrying on with other things on this bike. Speak to the owner, see what he wants to do. If he wants me to fit that McCuney, I will. That'll probably sort this problem, because the velocity stacks will be gone in the process of doing that, but that remains to be seen if and when that gets done. But that's where I'm leaving it for this week. Success of sorts.